Hi, in this Azure Data Factory session, we will learn about copy data activity where data will move from Azure Data Lake Gen2 to Azure SQL. Here I can see on the left hand side Azure Data Lake Storage is there where I had already stored structure files, folders, CSV file, text file, all other files you can see Excel files are there, and I need to paste or move this sheet to the SQL server, Azure SQL server, not on-premises SQL server. So in order to perform this SQL server, I need to go here. You can see this is the SQL server here. So I need to go here to perform the same copy activity inside the orchestration part. So let's practice for the same activity. So now I'm inside the Azure portal, portal.azure.com. You just log in with your username and password. So here I'll have to create the data factory first. So let me show you at the initial point. Here is the documentation of all the steps. So I'll send this link in the description part, how we will select all the instances, all the resources, everything. But before this, I can show this. I do not have any resources currently in my portal. So if I expand this sheet, I do not have any resources. So I'm going to create all the resources from the scratch. So this is the first step. I'm going to create the data factory here. So this is the create data factory option. I do not have any resource group. So I'm going to create this resource group. So copy resource underscore group underscore test. So I'm going to create this resource group value. Now you can see it just created now. Now I'm going to create the name of data factory. So I'm going to create data factory Sachin underscore test1. So this is the data factory name. If it is not allowed underscores, I'm going to remove this underscore from everywhere. Already okay, so here I'm going to choose the relevant region. So central India is the nearest region for me. So I'm going to click OK, click next, click next for networking, click next for advanced tags, review and create. So this says how I'm going to create the final resource. Meanwhile, it's going to perform in the development in progress. It's showing this message. So yes, luckily it just created very quickly. I can jump to the studio directly from here. Now, meanwhile, I'm going to click on this SQL, Azure SQL from here, or you can search for Azure SQL. Can you see so many options are showing here? So I'm not going to create any SQL database or anything here. So I'm going to create the SQL database here, right? So this is the SQL database. So I'm going to create this part. This is the SQL database. And all right, so I'm going to click apply offer, and this is the paid subscription. For you it might have free one, so you can choose that one also. So I'm going to select my resource group which I have just created now, and I will have to provide the database name here. So I'm going to create database name, database Sachin test1. So this is the database name. So for now I do not have any server, because database is requiring any server to run or to operate anything, every query and all the activities regarding SQL. So I'll have to create one SQL here. So I'm going to create server Sachin test1. So this is the server name here. I'll have to provide the same region which I had given earlier. So this is the central India. I'm going to select central India here. So I am going to provide on the authentication method as SQL authentication. So just give any server name. So I'm going to provide the server name here. So just keep in mind, because you will be asking these credentials, the same credential while entering into the SQL database. So I'm going to keep it as simple as possible so that I can recall at the at later time. So I'm going to create I'm going to put some logical password here. So you can see this is the next password. I'm going to click OK. So this is how I just created the server only. So here you can see this server is now just created. So I can go here to the next property. So I can click on public endpoint. So because every service or any Microsoft services requiring this database, they can access all the tables and schema. Now I can go with the certain part. I'm going to keep it default everything. Just click on the security, start free trial, not now. So I'm going to click all the remaining options same, right? So I'm going to click additional. So I need sample database so that I can see uh, predefined samples in the database, so predefined tables inside this. So I'm going to click on tags. So I'm going to skip this part as well because I do not need to put any tag here. So finally, if everything looks good, I do not have any error or any red message around each step 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I can create this value. All right, so it's going to initialize development. So this will be, it will take few minutes. All right, so meanwhile we can do something else. We can create some other resources concurrently. So I'm going to create one storage where I'll paste my where I'll copy my, well, I'll keep my CSV file, and I'll move this CSV file dataset into the SQL server or SQL database. So I'm going to click create. This would be the storage account. So I just selected the same resource group because all the resources must be in the same resource group. So I'm going to select the storage name. So storage, or I'll keep the ADLS Gen 2 Sachin test 2. Make sure it is taking, no, it's not taking too much long time, long data, long name. So I'm going to shorten it. Now it is fine, looking fine. So I can click on the next. Make sure I just click on enable hierarchy namespace because I need data lake storage gen 2. You can see this is the next endpoint. So I'm going to keep all these settings as it is. I do not require to change any setting as of now. So I'm going to click it here. So that's it. I'm going to create it, and I'll put some random data inside this storage. So this data would be in the format of CSV, and I'll have to navigate the schema of this data set also, because the same schema must be inside the SQL as well. Then only it will paste that rows and column. All right, let's see. Meanwhile, it's going to process. So I can go to the SQL database. It's just now ready for use. Click on the left hand side query editor. Now this is your username and password. If it is not showing, you can put manually server name, which we just provided while creating this database such in test1. Now I click OK. Now I'm inside this. Here you can see this is the error. Why this error is there? Because I do not allow this IP server. This is the IP server of my local machine. How I can match this value? I just click on this Google, go for check my IP address. What is my IP address? Can you see it's just checking? And it's a 49.43.169.95. Can you see it's a 49.43.169.95. So it's the same IP address of my local laptop on premises, I would say. So I'm going to provide this IP address to access this server. So I'm going to click or allow IP address on server. So it's just successfully updated. Here you can see this firewall is now updated. I can click OK. Now it will allow me to get in and can depict all the schema and all these tables on the left pane. Now you can see this is the sample tables. I can create other tables also if I want to show. So all the existing tables, I can go for the go for the basic SQL query, that is the select asterisk from address. So I can click on this one and run this select asterisk from address. Oh, maybe this name is not there, so I'll have to provide the SALDS dot LT. So LT, this is the schema as well as the table name. Can you see it's showing these correct schema here? All the values are showing here. So this is the ingredient of address here, but that's not my objective. My objective is I do not want to insert any value inside this address, not only in this one, but not only inside this address, but also any of this table. I can paste it, all the values, some values here, or some I can update some rows here also, but I'm going to insert some other values. So what is the table? So we'll create that table. I'll explain in few seconds. Let's go with the storage, ADLS storage. So I'm going to click on this data lake gen storage. So on the left pane, click on the container, click on the container. This is the input container. So I just created inside the storage box. So I click on the input container, click on the add directory. So I'm going to provide the input directory. So click on save. Now inside this input directory, upload the documents. In here we had the data set. Can you see this is the input data set? Now click on upload. Now if I click input file here, I can show the data set here. What kind of data set do I have? I have name, roll number, and Sachin. So if I want to add more values here, so I'm going to click Kumar and then 25. Then I'm going to show this, like for example, I have some third candidate Jyoti, and he is having 36. So I have 3 rows, 3 records, and 2 columns. So I'm going to save this value. So it's a successfully saved here. So I want to move this input CSV to the SQL Server. So I'm just copy the column name so that I do not have the typo error while creating the tables. So what I'll do, I'll create the schema only inside the database server, not the entire table, not all the values. So how to do this one? So I'm going to create table, name any table of this, for example, student. So just give this point, hit enter, and I am just going to paste the column names here. Now this is the var character, so I'm going to give the var character here. This is the 20. I'm going to keep it 20. So roll number, what is the roll number here? So I'm going to click roll number. For example, this is the integer, so that is sufficient for me. I'm going to run this code. Can you see it's a now this query is succeeded here. If I want to show select a string from student, if you go for the running query, can you see it's going to result name and roll number, but we do not have any values. From where we will get the values? From the input container, from this ADLS storage. That's our objective. All right, now this is the third step. I'm going to click on this, I'm going to jump into the ADF here. So inside this ADF, first we need to create a pipeline. So here you can see this is the link service. I do not have any link service. So first link service, I'll create the SQL database. Can you see this is the Azure SQL database? So I'm going to click this database here. So click OK. So I just provided the output SQL Database, and this would be the this will create the integration runtime. So here you can see it's asking my Azure runtime, Azure subscription. This is my server name, which I just created there. This is my database name. I do not I do not want to select the master, but the custom database name. This is the authentication server, and this is the username. By default, it's showing here, but you will have to put manually if it is not showing here. Provide the correct password here, go to the mandatory, and everything looks fine. Just click on the text connection. So here you can see it's showing fail. What's the reason behind? Can you see? This is the reason. It's showing that you have to enter this 52 140 134 inside this value. So I'm going to select this IP address, click on write, copy. So if I click here and go to the database, click on bus onward server, click on the server here, servers, click on server test, go in. On the left hand side under the security tab, click on the networking here. So inside this networking, I'm just going to click this part, add a firewall rule. Oh, sorry, not the add your client IP address. I'm going to cancel it, client IP address. So just remove all the stuff from this text box, remove all the stuff from the text box and paste that IP address which we just copy from that error point, and also allow Azure services and resources to access this service. Reason being, if you will allow, so all allow, it will allow connections from IP addresses allocated to Azure service, any Azure service or assets, including connections from the subscriptions or other customers, right? So this option is mandatory while configuring the firewall. So it will allow your firewall to transform data or establishing dialog from one resource to the another. So I'm going to check box it and also add this static IP address. I just click on this save. These are the common mistake we encounter. So I just test connection again. Can you see now it's going to show successful? I'm going to click create. Before this, I just have to show. I'll have to keep remember what is the link service name here. This is the output SQL base, and I'm just click ls here, right? So just create this one. That's it. Now go back here, author, create some database. I'll create two data set now. One data set is for fetching for SQL database, and one feature database is fetching for creating pipeline for the ADLS data set. So I'm going to create this one. So first I'm going to create the SQL. This is the Azure SQL database. You can see, click OK. So I'm going to select this output SQL database which we just created, and it's showing all the table name. If it is not showing any table name, you will have to wait somewhere sometimes. So you can wait for sometimes and you can see it will show that value. Otherwise you have another option. You can enter schema name and table name also. It will show all the points. So by default for me it's showing all the names here. So I'm going to select my table which I just created inside this SQL server. The name of this table is dbo, dbo dot, the schema name is dbo, table name is student. So I'm going to click this part here, and I'm going to import schema. No, I'll see at later point. I'm click OK, and here you can see first data set is created. All right, so I'm going to create new data set. So this would be the ADLS. So 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 I'm going to select Lake. So Azure Data Lake Storage Gen2. Now this one reads CSV file. I'm going to continue this one. So this would be ADLS ls underscore link services ADLS, and I'm going to select the new link service. Why it's not showing the same link service? Because that was for SQL, and here we are creating next link service for the ADLS. So this would be the uh, data set ADLS Gen 2. All right, so I'm going to collect the account type, no, from Azure subscription here. So I'm going to select this storage name. This is the only storage we have currently. I'm going to click this to link service. This option would be on. So I'm going to click on test connection. If you can see, this is the showing successfully. Yes, I can see this is showing successfully. If it is successful, then you can go ahead. Can you see it's showing successful also, right? And let me show that part for SQL Server. If you go with the just create this part. That's it. Select the data set from this input container, navigate that folder and that input CSV, click OK. That's it. All right. So I'm going to show the SQL Server again. So if I click on this monitor or the manage tab, here you can see the link service for SQL Server. If I show here, if I show the test connection here, so can you see it's showing successfully also. Reason being, we had just provided username, correct password, correct SQL authentication, correct database name and correct domain name here. All right, so you can see this is showing the same value. So I'm going to click cancel. uh, I do not have any changes here, so I'm going to discard it. Now going back to the author portal, we had just created two data sets. First is for SQL Server, second one is for ADLS. Now I'm going to publish it, then I'll create the copy activity. So it will take few seconds. So of course it will take few seconds. All right, can you see it's published? It has published completed. Now I'm going to create the pipeline. Inside this pipeline, I just created the copy. So here you can see this is the copy activity. So inside the source, I'm going to click this source because I need data from ADLS. So I'm going to click this ADLS. If I want to show the data, so you click on preview data here. Can you see it's showing Sachin, Kumar, Jyoti, everything is here. Now I can sync this data set to the another portal. Can you see this is showing sync, and this time I want to sync the Azure SQL part. All right, so I'm going to I want to explain this insert, upsert, store procedure, everything. They are having different sections, but you just select this part. Go to the next tab, mapping, import schema. Let's see what kind of options we have. Can you see this is just showing the import schema. So I do not have I'll have to manually selecting this roll number. Can you see it's showing roll number here, and it will map to the roll number here. All right, that's it. Now I can publish it again because I just created this copy activity and I can publish it now. Again, it will take few seconds. All right, can you see it's successfully published? Now I can validate all the resources if nothing is uh, awkward. So you can see your pipeline has been validated and no error finds. Close. So now I can debug this activity. So again, it will take some time. So meanwhile, I can show this input container. So here we have input container. This input container is having 3 rows, and inside this server, I'm going to close this server. Inside this data set, I just have only rows. Can you see it just pasted all these? Meanwhile, we just check this part. It just pasted also. If you look at here, look at the data factory. Can you see it's just succeeded? If I want to show this details, can you see it's showing the successfully operations, all the queue transform correctly. Now if I want to show the output, can you see it's showing the output here? Now if you want to see the output, yes, you can see this is showing the output here also. Now what others you can do, I'm going to click on this edit option here. Inside this edit Jyoti, I'm going to add one more name here. So for example, this is the Vishesh and this is the another name, for example 16. So I'm going to save this part, click OK, and I'm going to run this activity again, debug. All right, if it is failed, so definitely there would be some column or mapping cause or some mapping mismatched from the source to destination, otherwise it would be successfully pasted, because we had already run this copy activity which was successfully done. All right, here you can see at the bottom it's showing green, which means we can check our SQL part again. So here you can see we do not have any only three values are there. We do not have Vishesh and 16. So I'm going to run this query again. Can you see now it's showing the updated value, but here you can see it's showing the Sachin, Kumar, Jyoti, all the data set again, all the rows are again here. So we had the different options to paste this values again. For example, here you have the SQL option and you can go for the upsert. All right, so what is the upsert part? So you can go with the existing, use existing, or the new you want to create. So I'm going to upsert this values, right? So let's see what happens if upsert values are there. So let's change some data set from here, input, edit, and this time I'm going to show some, for example Raj and 99. I'm going to save this point and perform this copy activity again. Okay, so upset requires some specific column, so I need to provide the key column. So what is the key column here? Key column is name. All right, so I want to show some key columns here. That's it. I want to debug, so it's going to debug this activity. All right, can you see it just succeeded now, and it's showing the details. It's just move my Azure Data Lake Storage Gen2 to Azure SQL Database region Central India. Let's see what's the output here. I'm going to run the same query, and can you see it's showing the same Sachin Kumar Jyoti, Sachin Kumar Jyoti, Vishesh Raj, right? So it's not going to paste all the data set here, but the existing or the new one only, right? It didn't updated, it didn't created new data set, right? So I do not have this value, right? So I do not have repeated values now. But if you will run without the upsert value, it will check, it will paste all the same values again. So you will have the same Sachin Kumar Jyoti, Sachin Kumar Jyoti, Sachin Kumar Jyoti three times. But because we uses the upsert, not the insert, so it's showing the only the updated rows, which is updated rows Raj 99 here. So I'm going to show this insert part again. What will happen? So while doing this insert part, it will create Sachin Kumar Jyoti, Sachin Kumar Jyoti, and Sachin Kumar Jyoti three times. So I'm going to update this part here. So I'm going to debug again. Let's see what will be the output in this scenario. All right, can you see it's a succeeded now? And let's see, let's run the query again. I'm going to click OK, run. And if I run this one, Sachin, 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 and can you see it's showing the all the rows again, because I didn't run this query using the upsert. I just use the insert command. So this is the difference between insert and upsert inside this activity. All right, so do not forget to delete all the options. I'm going to delete this part, delete this close this activity because I do not require anymore. So I'm going to click home and refresh this page. Don't forget to delete all the options. Click the storage, sorry, not the storage but resource group, and just click and just delete this resource group. Do not try to delete a server or database or Azure Data Factory separately or storage separately. Yes, just delete this storage, delete source group. It will delete automatically, delete it. It will delete all these inside resources immediately. So as far as individual deletion is concerned, that's possible, but that's not required. That's a long way to delete all the resources. What's the shortcut here? You just go to the resource group test and just select all the instances here from the top option and just delete resource group. All right. Okay. So it will delete all the resources. Thank you so much for this call. Thank you.